We gave your college fund to your sister. My mother said it like she was commenting on the weather. No hesitation, no regret, just a simple fact. For her wedding, my father added, not even looking up from his coffee. I stood in the doorway, acceptance letter still in my hand. The letter I'd run home to show them. The letter that said I'd gotten into my dream university. My sister sat on the couch, flipping through a wedding binder. She glanced up, smiled, then went back to her cake samples. $43,000 gone. 18 years of promises. Erased in a single sentence. You understand, right? Mom's voice was sweet, patient, like she was explaining something to a child. How do you respond when the people who promised you a future hand it to someone else? I couldn't speak. I just stood there, frozen. But I had something they didn't know about yet. Something that would change everything. Where are you watching from and what time is it there? Drop a comment. And hit that like button if you've ever been treated like the backup plan. Let me take you back. Growing up, I was always second. My sister Emma was the golden child. Pageants every summer? Private dance lessons. Tutors for subjects she didn't even struggle with. Me? I was the responsible one. That's code for you're on your own. When Emma turned 16, my parents threw her a party that cost $15,000. Rented venue, live band, ice sculpture. When I turned 16, we went to Olive Garden. Split an appetizer, but they always said the same thing. Your sister just needs a little more support. You've always been so independent. I learned early that independence wasn't a compliment. It was an excuse. So I made a plan. I worked 3 part-time jobs through high school. Weekends at a coffee shop, evenings tutoring, summers at a daycare. 4.0 GPA. Volunteered at the library every Tuesday. Ran student council. I saved every paycheck. Tracked every penny in a spreadsheet. And I kept a folder, physical and digital. Every bank statement. Every email from my parents promising, this college fund is locked in for your education. I'm a planner. I document everything. It's a habit that was about to pay off. The college fund was opened the day I was born. My parents reminded me of it constantly. We're saving for your future, Dad would say. I checked the balance once a year. Watched it grow. $43,216. It wasn't enough to cover 4 years. But combined with my savings, it would get me through. Or so I thought. I had no idea that the same week I got my acceptance letter, they'd burn it all down. After they dropped the bomb, they sat me down for the talk. Emma's fiancé comes from money. His family owns a chain of car dealerships across the state. And apparently they have expectations. The venue alone is $12,000, Mom said, scrolling through her phone. We've already put down the deposit. The dress was $8, Emma added, her voice small, practiced. Dad leaned forward. You're smart. You'll figure it out. There are loans, scholarships. You might even defer a year. A year. He said it so casually. Just until we get back on our feet, Mom added. Get back on their feet. With my money. Emma's eyes filled with tears. Right on cue. You'd really ruin my one special day? Her voice cracked. I've dreamed of this since I was 6. You gotta go to school dances. This is my moment. I didn't respond. I just looked at her. She looked away first. Dad slid a piece of paper across the table. A student loan pre-approval form. We already started the application, he said. You just need to sign. Mom's smile was warm, encouraging. We'll pay you back eventually. You know we're good for it. I stared at the form. Federal loans. Private loans. Interest rates that would bury me for decades. They'd spent my future. And now they wanted me to go into debt to replace it. Think about it, Dad said, standing. But we need an answer by Friday. 3 days. Emma went back to her binder. Mom started dinner, and I walked upstairs, loan form in hand, and closed my door. I sat on my bed, acceptance letter on one side, loan form on the other. The university needed a confirmation and a deposit within 2 weeks. $1,200 to hold my spot. I had savings. About $9,000 from my jobs. But the scholarship I'd applied for only covered partial tuition. I'd still have a gap of $12,000 for the first year. Without the college fund, I was short. Way short. My phone wouldn't stop buzzing. Emma, don't be dramatic. Mom, family comes first, always. An email from the financial aid office. Subject line, enrollment confirmation required. I pulled up loan calculators. Watched the numbers compound. 20 years of payments. Maybe 30. I thought about deferring. About staying home another year, working full-time, saving. But I knew what would happen. They'd find another reason to need money. Another emergency. Another special moment. I'd never leave. Maybe they were right. Maybe I was selfish. Maybe this was just what family did. I felt the tears coming. Hot. Angry. I thought I'd lost everything. Then I remembered. There'd been 2 envelopes in the mail that day. I'd been so excited about the acceptance letter that I hadn't opened the second one. It was still in my bag, thick, embossed return address, from the university. I reached for it, hands shaking. I opened the second envelope, pulled out 3 pages, heavy paper, university seal at the top. Dear applicant, congratulations. I read the first line 3 times. You have been selected from over 12,000 applicants for the Presidential Merit Scholarship. My vision blurred. I kept reading. Full tuition, room and board, a stipend for books and living expenses, renewable for 4 years with a 3.5 GPA, total value $280,000. I couldn't breathe. The letter explained that my application had been flagged by faculty. They cited exceptional resilience, academic merit, and leadership in the face of personal challenge. I hadn't even known this scholarship existed. It wasn't advertised. They found me. I read it again, and again. I didn't need the college fund. I didn't need my parents' money. I didn't need the loans. I was free. And then, a different feeling. Rage. They'd given away money that was legally set aside for my education. Money in my name. And they'd done it assuming I had no other options. That I'd be desperate enough to comply. I could have walked downstairs right then, showed them the letter, watched their faces. But something stopped me. I needed to know how far they'd actually go. So I didn't say a word. The next 3 days were a masterclass in manipulation. Mom cornered me in the kitchen. Your grandmother called. She's asking why you won't support your sister. She hadn't talked to my grandmother. I knew because Grandma and I texted every Sunday. She hadn't mentioned it. Emma posted on Instagram a photo of her dress. Caption, family isn't always there when you need them. Broken heart emoji. Within an hour, my phone exploded. Aunts, cousins, people I hadn't spoken to in years. How could you be so selfish? It's just one day. You'll have plenty of time to go to college. I didn't respond to any of them. At dinner, Dad tried a new angle. We've scheduled a meeting with our financial advisor. Tomorrow at 4. He'll walk you through the loan options. Their financial advisor sold insurance through a multi-level marketing scheme. I'd met him once. He'd tried to recruit me. I have work, I said. Call in sick. It wasn't a suggestion. Emma started crying again. Real tears this time, I think. Why do you hate me? She whispered. Mom put an arm around her. Dad's voice went cold. If you don't help this family, don't expect us to help you later. You'll be on your own. I met his eyes. I've always been on my own. He stood up, slammed his chair in. Sign the loan by Friday, or find somewhere else to live. There it was. The ultimatum I'd been waiting for. I smiled, nodded. I'll think about it. I had 2 days left. 2 days to plan. That night, I pulled out the folder. The college fund documents were in the back. I'd only looked at them once, years ago. Custodial account, opened under the Uniform Transfers to Minors Act. I Googled it. According to the law, the money became mine the day I turned 18. 3 months ago, any withdrawal after that required my signature. I looked at the bank statement I'd pulled online. The transfer had gone through 2 weeks ago. $43,216. Moved to my parents' joint checking account. There was a scanned authorization form attached. My signature was on it, except it wasn't. I'm left-handed. My signature slants left. The one on the form slanted right. I called the bank's fraud department, used the 24-hour hotline, explained the situation, sent them a photo of my driver's license signature for comparison. The representative put me on hold. When she came back, her voice was tight. "We've flagged the transaction. A case has been opened." I thanked her, hung up. Then I checked my cloud backup. I'd screenshotted a conversation 2 months ago. Emma and Mom. I'd been added to the group text by accident, then immediately removed. But I'd already seen it. "Emma, just take it. She'll get over it. She always does. Mom, you're right. She's too nice to fight back." It wasn't just betrayal. It was theft. And they'd planned it. I needed to understand why. So I dug deeper. My parents had always been secretive about money. Separate bank accounts. No shared finances talk at dinner. But I'd co-signed a utility bill with them once, 2 years ago, when we switched internet providers. I pulled my credit report. Their names were linked to mine in the system. And there it was. $78,000 in unsecured debt. Credit cards. Personal loans. A second mortgage I didn't know existed. They were drowning. I thought about Emma's emergencies over the years. The car she totaled. The semester abroad she dropped out of halfway through. The business idea that failed in 3 months. Mom had mentioned $30,000 in family loans once. Never repaid. Then I overheard them. I was upstairs. They were in the kitchen. Voices low, but not low enough. "Once she's working, she'll help us. She always does." Dad's voice. "And with Emma married into that family, we'll have connections. Real ones." Mom, it clicked. The wedding wasn't about Emma's happiness. It was a social investment. A way to align with money they didn't have. And I was the fallback plan. The safety net they'd spend, then rely on to catch them later. I found Mom's journal on the counter the next morning. Open to a page dated 3 months ago. One line stood out. "It's not really hers until she earns it herself." I took a photo. They didn't see me as a daughter. They saw me as an asset. That clarity changed everything. Friday morning, I made 3 phone calls. First, the University Financial Aid Office. I accepted the scholarship, confirmed my enrollment, requested early move-in for scholarship recipients. They approved me for the week before orientation. Second, a family law clinic that offered free consultations to incoming students. I explained the forged signature, the custodial account, the fraud case. The lawyer was quiet for a long moment. "You have a strong case. The bank will likely recover a portion, and we can freeze their access to any future financial aid in your name." I asked her to file the paperwork. Third call, Mrs. Hernandez, my AP literature teacher. She'd told me once that if I ever needed anything, her door was open. "Do you still have that guest room?" She didn't ask questions. Just said yes. I packed 2 bags. Essentials only. Clothes, documents, laptop. I organized every receipt, every screenshot, every statement into a single folder. Printed copies. Digital backups. I wasn't going to yell. I wasn't going to beg. I was going to let the truth do the work. The confirmation email from the university came through. Subject line, enrollment confirmed. Welcome to the class of 2028. The bank fraud claim had a case number. The lawyer sent me a copy of the filing. I put everything in my bag. Closed my bedroom door quietly. Emma's wedding was in 2 days. I'd go. I'd stay for the whole thing. But not as their backup plan. As a witness to my own freedom. The wedding was beautiful. I'll give them that. $12,000 venue. String quartet. Ice sculpture in the shape of swans. I wore a simple dress. Sat in the back during the ceremony. Emma looked happy. Maybe she even was. The reception started at 6, dinner, speeches, the usual. I stayed quiet. Smiled when I needed to. Then Emma stood up for her toast. I just want to thank my parents, she said, voice shaking with emotion. They sacrificed everything to make this day perfect. She looked right at me. Some people understand what family means, and some people only think about themselves. The room went quiet. A few heads turned my way. Mom and Dad beamed, proud. Emma sat down. I stood up. Can I borrow the mic? The DJ looked confused, but handed it over. I walked to the center of the floor. I just want to clarify something, I said. My voice was calm, steady. Emma thanked our parents for sacrificing everything, and I think that deserves some context. Dad's face went pale. 2 weeks ago, I received an acceptance letter to my dream university. I also received a second letter. I pulled the scholarship letter from my bag, held it up. A full-ride merit scholarship. Tuition, room, board, and a living stipend. Renewable for 4 years. Total value, $280,000. Gasps, whispers. I was selected from over 12,000 applicants. Mom stood. Sweetheart, this isn't the time. The college fund my parents gave to Emma? It was in my name. Legally mine the day I turned 18. 3 months ago? I looked at Dad. Any withdrawal after that required my signature. I pulled out the second document. The forged authorization form. This is the transfer form. The signature isn't mine. I'm left-handed. That signature slants right. Emma's face went white. I filed a fraud claim with the bank. The transaction has been flagged. An investigation is open. I placed a manila folder on my parents' table. This is your copy. The bank's findings, the legal filings, and screenshots of texts between Emma and Mom, dated 2 months ago, discussing taking the money because I was too nice to fight back. Silence. Complete silence. I handed the mic back to the DJ. Congratulations on the wedding. And I walked out. I didn't look back. I didn't need to. The bank resolved the fraud claim 3 weeks later. They recovered $8,200. The rest had already been spent. Venue, catering, dress, flowers, gone. The money went into a new account. In my name only. At a different bank. I used it for a laptop and a winter wardrobe. My parents faced no criminal charges. I declined to press them. But the bank flagged their profiles, and I filed a federal form blocking them from accessing any of my financial aid information. They couldn't co-sign, couldn't view my account, couldn't touch my future. Emma's marriage lasted 6 months. Turns out the dealership family wasn't thrilled about the public scene. They distanced themselves quickly. The divorce was quiet. I heard about it through a cousin. Mom sent a text 2 months after the wedding. Can we talk? I didn't reply. Dad sent one a month later. We did what we thought was best. No acknowledgement of the theft. No real apology. Just an excuse. I blocked both numbers. Emma unfriended me on every platform. Mutual family members said she told people I'd ruined her special day. Maybe I did, but she ruined something too. I moved into my dorm a week early. Single room in the honors wing. My first semester, I made Dean's List. 3.8 GPA, I joined 2 clubs, made friends who knew nothing about the drama, got hired as a research assistant for a professor in my major. I started therapy in October. The university offered free counseling. I learned words like enmeshment and financial abuse. I learned that setting boundaries wasn't cruelty. It was survival. Mom texted again at Thanksgiving. Will you come home? I stared at the message for a long time. Then I typed, not yet. Maybe someday. On my terms. She read it. Didn't reply. I spent Thanksgiving with Mrs. Hernandez and her family. It was quiet, warm. No one asked me for anything. I'm finishing my first year now. The scholarship renewed. 4.0 this semester. I'm thinking about law school. Or maybe social work. Something where I can help people who feel trapped. People who were told their needs didn't matter. Here's what I learned. You can't sacrifice yourself to fix people who see you as a resource. You can't pour from an empty cup. And sometimes the family you need isn't the one you're born into, it's the one you choose. So here's my question for you. What boundary would you set in this situation? Drop your answer in the comments. I read every single one. And if this story helped you feel a little less alone, hit that subscribe button. You're not the problem for having needs. You're not selfish for protecting your future. You're not wrong for choosing yourself. One last thing. This is a fictionalized dramatization for educational and entertainment purposes. It is not legal or financial advice. If you're facing something similar, please consult a licensed professional in your area. Thanks for watching. And remember, some families are born. Some are chosen. Choose wisely.